my name is Tramane Pesnell, and I will be describing how to write a definition essay. First off, you need to kind of know what a definition is. It basically tells what a term means and how it differs from other terms in its class. When you're writing a definition essay, you are writing a piece of work that is explaining the meaning of a word or a phrase. It's telling readers what you're defining. You're giving clear information. You're using facts, examples, and such so that your readers will understand what you're describing. When you're choosing a topic that you're going to define, you want to choose one that's going to be interesting. You always want to make sure that you yourself have a deep understanding of the meaning of what you're describing to your readers. You also want to make sure that you limit your topic, because you don't want it to be too broad or too narrow, so you have nothing to kind of expand on. I have an example, which is microbiology has subdisciplines such as virology and bacteriology that can be discussed to narrow the topic to fit the parameters of the essay. An example thesis statement would be virology is the study of the structure, classification, and reproduction of viruses. You always want to make sure your thesis statement with any paper is clear and concise. With a definition essay, you want to show your readers your approach from where you stand to the definition of your subject. Your thesis statement is going to provide the focus for what you're going to be describing to people from your point of view. Your introduction. In your introduction, you want to always have like an attention grabber topic sentence, something that catches their eye, makes them want to continue to read. It's going to because your introduction is going to identify the subject that you're going to define, as well as provide a brief and basic definition. And your introduction is also going to include your thesis statement. In your body paragraphs, you want to make sure that you expand your definition. This is where you can use any of these strategies, whether you use synonyms, words that are similar to what your paper is about. You can use negation, telling what your subject is not. Enumeration, you are just listing characteristics of your topic. Analogies, which you can see is identifying the similarities between an unfamiliar term and something likely to be familiar to your readers, so you want to make it easier to read. As well as origin and development, you want to give where your definition came from, the original meaning and usage for the word. Also in your body, you can use certain transition words and phrases for your definition essay. If you're talking about similarities, you could use moreover, likewise, additionally. If you're giving examples to something, you could say to explain, to clarify, most compelling evidence if you're trying to kind of convince people what you're talking about, that you know what you're talking about also. And when you're concluding, you can use in final analysis, overall, altogether, or all things considered, to kind of wrap up what you were talking about. And when you're in your conclusion, it's going to review everything you discussed in your essay. It's reminding the readers why you chose what you chose. And you're also going to restate your thesis, whether it's the last sentence or whatnot. This paragraph is the last impression that your readers are going to get from you after reading your essay. So you always want to make it just like your introduction. You want to make it memorable. You want it to stand out. Once you finish, pretty much drafting, you want to go back and you want to revise your essay. You want to make sure it's free of grammatical errors, as well as pay attention to these questions when you're writing a definition essay. Does your thesis clearly state the term you want to define and why you are defining it? That's what you want to look at. Have you included a formal definition of your subject? Have you defined other key terms your readers may not be familiar with that you are? And do you need to include a visual to further explain what you are describing to your readers? Once you've revised, you want to go back and edit it, but you want to make sure when you're editing your definition paper that you always avoid using is when or is where in your formal definitions. It's very, very important to remember this when you're writing a paper, because you're no longer giving a definition of the term. You are actually just presenting an example of it. So you want to avoid using is when and is where. Have you used present tense for your formal definition? Even if, in a few sentences you were using past tense, you always want to make sure that you use present tense. And also italicize the term you're defining, and make sure you place the definition itself in quotation marks in your formal definition. That's pretty much it when writing a definition essay. Thanks.